All right, today we're going to be talking about Chapter 10, Lesson 1. This is all about measures of center. This is our first lesson in probability and statistics, and this is primarily statistics. So some of these words I'm sure you've heard before, but mean, median, and mode, those are called measures of center. That would be like the middle of the data. The mean, this is the average of the data. And how you find it is you add up the data points and then divide by however many there are. So that's how you find the mean. The median, this is the middle number of the data. And how you find this is you list the data from least to greatest, and then you find the middle number. Now, if the middle happens to fall between two numbers, you have to find the mean of those two numbers. So we'll be able to see that in example 1, actually. And then the mode, this is the number that appears most often. You can have more than one mode, but you have to be careful with that. So let's look at example 1 to see if we can't figure these out. So it says find the mean, median, and mode of this set of data. So first of all, the mean. The mean is, first of all, I want to add up all my data points. So I want to have 601 plus 461 plus 436 plus 435 plus 431 plus 423 plus 404 plus 380 plus 377 plus 373. Now, if I add those numbers together, 601 and 461 and 436 and 435, 431, 423, 404, 380, 377, and 373, I'll get a grand total of 4,321. I then want to take this number and divide it however many data points there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm going to do 4,323 divided by 10, and that gets me 432.1. So that's the mean. The median. I need to order these from least to greatest. So as I go ahead and do this, it actually looks like they're already written from greatest to least, which is good. So I can take my data now and just start crossing off numbers from each side. So I'm going from greatest and taking the least one off, then the next greatest and the next least, and so on and so forth until I get to these two numbers. Because if I cross those two numbers off, all of my answers are gone. So now I need to find the mean of 431 and 423. So again, I have to add those together. 431 and 423 is equal to 854. I want to divide this number by 2 then, and the median is 427. And then the mode, I want to look for the number that appears the most. So far, all of these numbers appear only one time, which means that there is no mode. And the reason why is because all of the numbers appear the exact same amount of times. Every single number. Now, I said earlier that you can have more than one mode, but if all the numbers show up the exact same number of times, then there isn't a mode. Alright, so now that we know what the mean, median, and mode are, and how to find it, let's learn when to use it. So, when I'm figuring out when to use mean, median, and mode, the mean, I would use this when all the data is evenly spaced or close together. The median I would use if there is a number much larger or smaller than the rest. So for example, if I were to use the mean, it would be something along the lines of like 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7. Each number is evenly spaced. They're all 1 away from each other. There isn't any of them that is much larger or much smaller. This would be a good data set to use the mean on. If I'm using the median, this would be something like using the same data set. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and let's say 17. The reason why I wouldn't want to use the mean in this case is because this 17 is really far away from all these other numbers. So this 17 is really going to pull up the mean, and it might not necessarily be the middle of this data. So I want to use the median. The median would be a much better way to use this. And then I want to use the mode. This one doesn't happen too frequently, but I want to use the mode if there are a lot of like 1 or 2 numbers. So that would be like 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. So there's a lot of 6s. Which means that if I were to take the mean of this, it'd probably be really, really close to 6. Which doesn't necessarily fit with what's in the middle. So I would use the mode in this case. The reason why I would use the mode is because there's a lot of numbers that appear very much so often than any of the other numbers. So, example 2. It says which measure of center should be used, justify, and then find that measure. So, first of all, are all the numbers pretty evenly spaced? I have 4, 0, 2, 2. Well, let's first of all order these from least to greatest. So I got that 0, got a 1, here's another 1, that's all the 1s. Okay, here's a 2, 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 and here's a 2. A lot of 2s. Here's a 3, and a 3, and a 4, and a 4. So this is my data set ordered from least to greatest. So all of them are pretty evenly spaced. Each one is 1 apart from each other, and there really isn't anything that shows that one's really far from each other. So I could use the mean. But let's continue moving. Let's look at the mode. The mode, is there a number that's significantly larger or smaller? Not really. And the last one, are there a lot of numbers that show up? Well, yeah, there's a lot of 2s. In fact, there are 6 2s out of a total data set of 13. Almost half the numbers are 2s. So I would want to use the mode. Because 6 of the 13 numbers are 2. Then find that measure. Well, the mode is 2. So that would be the measure of center that I would want to use for that data set. All right, this is the end of Lesson 1. If you have any questions, please let me know.